What's up, everybody? So today I wanted to talk about walkability. So this is kind of a question I get from a lot of you guys that are coming from places like New York City, Southern California, Chicago, Boston. You want to know what the walkability is like in the Fort Lauderdale area. Well, today I'm going to talk about some of the most walkable neighborhoods, and make sure to watch the whole video because I'm even going to throw one in there that's a suburb. So let's get into it. Alright, so welcome back if this is your first time here. I cover anything and everything related to Fort Lauderdale, whether you're already living here or you're looking to move here, so make sure to subscribe down below. Also, if you did not know by now, I am a licensed real estate broker in the state of Florida, so this number that's popping up below, I will be the guy to answer the calls, the texts, and the emails. So if you're planning on making a move anywhere in South Florida, make sure to get in touch with me. Call, text, or email, days, nights, or weekends. I'd love to hear from you. So as far as walkability is concerned, Florida is kind of known as one of those places, maybe besides Miami, that's kind of a little bit more spread out. You really do need a car to live down here unless you want to, Uber around everywhere, but there are certain neighborhoods where you can get away without it. So these neighborhoods are in no particular order, but I am going to start with probably the most walkable neighborhood in Fort Lauderdale, which is going to be downtown Fort Lauderdale / Las Olas. So typical downtown, just what you would expect. There's a lot of construction going on down there, and it actually was ranked back in 2017 as one of the best cities to live without a car. I haven't been able to find anything updated since then. I mean, I can't imagine the walkability got worse since then unless it has something to do with the construction, but just know that it was ranked as one of the best cities to live without a car. So if you're living downtown, there's a chance that you live in a condo, whether it's a high-rise condo or just one of those smaller buildings that don't have as many amenities. You have everything pretty much right outside your doorstep. And there are even some neighborhoods just surrounded by downtown, like Cooley Hammock, that you can walk to Las Olas. So it's not necessarily only have to be condo living, even though that's what a majority of it is going to be. And in some of these condo buildings, I mean, you don't even have to leave the building to do your grocery shopping or go to the gym, go to the pool. Everything is right there. So that's some of these higher amenity buildings. That's what's gonna make downtown Fort Lauderdale really walkable. Whether you're in one of those buildings or not, though, everything is there. You have the Las Olas strip with all of your dining and shopping and nightlife that you could imagine. You're really only about 2 miles from the beach, straight down Las Olas Boulevard. You can walk if you want. It's probably going to be a pretty long walk. I would say, 45 minutes or so, but it is within walking distance. That's where the walkability comes from. And the cool thing about living downtown is there really is homes for every budget. I mean, like I had mentioned, you're going to have some of those smaller condo buildings or smaller townhomes where you're really not going to have any amenities, so you can get into those in probably the low 300,000s to start for like a 1-bedroom, and then you're gonna have everything above that in your higher amenity buildings, and those ones are gonna be a little bit more pricey, starting probably in the 600,000 range for a 1-bedroom, and then it just keeps going up. I mean, we're talking in upwards of 10 to 15 million for a condo in downtown Fort Lauderdale. But my point is that there is affordable living in what I would consider the most walkable neighborhood in Fort Lauderdale. Now, coming in at a close number 2, which I know I said I wasn't going to do this in any specific order, but these probably are the 2 most walkable ones, is going to be Flagler Village, which is located right outside of downtown. It's still got a little bit of a skyline. It's been pretty built up the last couple years. Flagler Village is where you're going to find mostly rentals. Yes, you will find some condos, some loft-style living. It's very urban. A lot of small businesses there. I've mentioned in previous videos that it's kind of the hub for young professionals, where a lot of young professionals are settling because of the art scene there and just the culture. It's just different. I could compare it to Wynwood in Miami on a much smaller scale, but if that's the type of vibe Flagler Village is. So the thing with Flagler Village is you're not necessarily going to have everything right inside the neighborhood, such as downtown, but you have access to a lot of major roads like US 1, where all you have to do is cross the street if you want to go food shopping or go out to eat. I mean, pretty much everything is located on the other side of US 1, but there, again, are apartments in there with amenities where you don't necessarily have to leave your building for a lot of stuff. But that's mostly going to be like your short daily errands. Like I mentioned, food shopping and stuff like that. Yes, you have to cross the street. It's a pretty major street, but not a big deal at all. So stepping outside the city, we're going to go towards the beach now. We have the Galt Ocean Mile. This has been another community that I've been asked about by some of you guys, and it's probably one of the most walkable beach towns, or not towns, but beach areas in Fort Lauderdale. It's a strip of condos that are actually on the sand, and then you have on the opposite side of them, you just have pretty much all strip malls. So you have your grocery shopping there, you have, restaurants, your daily errands like dry cleaning, stuff like that, Dunkin' Donuts, some fast food. Pretty much everything you need is within those strip malls. And even as you get closer to Oakland Park Boulevard, which is where the bridge is that comes towards the beach, on that side you have, which that would be the west side of A1A, you got a lot of restaurants there too, and shops. So Galt Ocean Mile is probably the most walkable beach area in Fort Lauderdale, because when you compare it to something like Central Beach, for example, which is down where a lot of the tourists go, where all the luxurious hotels and restaurants are, yes, that is walkable. However, for your daily needs like your groceries and stuff, you still will have to cross the bridge to go food shopping and do a lot of stuff, or just travel further down A1A, which, if you don't know what that is, that's our Ocean Boulevard or Ocean Avenue, whatever you want to call it, that runs along the beach. Another cool thing about the Galt Ocean Mile is that a lot of the buildings are older. I think the newest building may have been built in 2003, so living is pretty affordable there, considering what you get. I mean, you get a condo on the sand. You're not across the street from the beach, you're on the beach. So living can be pretty affordable. Units or apartments there, if they're not renovated, you're looking at probably in the fours to start for a very small one. The one downside to that is maintenance fees. Your maintenance fees are going to be very high because you're on the beach. You got to imagine the staff that they have to employ just to keep the grounds up, keep the beach clean, and whatnot. So anytime you're really living on the beach, your maintenance fees are going to be pretty high, even if the condo itself is not very expensive. So staying on the beach, we're going to move just a little bit north of the Galt, and this is technically not a neighborhood in Fort Lauderdale. It's a little town, but it's called Lauderdale-by-the-Sea. Now this place is like a hidden gem. Small little beach town, really cool vibe. It's something you got to kind of just see to experience it. I can't really do it any justice by telling you about it, but a lot of people do vacation there. A lot of snowbirds live there. It's just, I mean, maybe a square mile, maybe a little bit more. It's tiny little town. Everything in it is pretty much centered right on the corner of Commercial Boulevard and A1A. You got a lot of local shops, small restaurants, small bars, some restaurants on the beach. And then you have Elmar Drive, which is the street that actually runs along the beach. That's where you're going to find a lot of your smaller motel style hotels that people come and vacation and stay in. So everything there is pretty much right in that little square. I guess you can call it the center of town. There is a grocery store, there's a Publix within walking distance, and a little shopping plaza that also has like a CVS and a Dunkin' Donuts. So Lauderdale-by-the-Sea is really a hidden gem. It's not too cheap to live there. The homes are starting in, I would say you could probably get a home there that needs some work, maybe in the 6s or the 7s, but they are typically in the millions. Condos, you're not really gonna find like that high-rise style like you would in Galt Ocean Mile. They're smaller buildings. I believe there's a restriction of how many floors you can build up. I'm not sure if it's 3 in the town itself, but there is a restriction of how high you can build up so that people can maintain that view of the beach. Another cool thing about Lauderdale-by-the-Sea, they have live music on the weekends. You know, while you're sitting outside eating your dinner, there's live music going on. It's just a cool feel that the people who live there are like very protective over that town. And they do get a lot of visitors, but it seems like everybody's just on the same vibe. A lot of families go there. It's not really like your party town. It's like where you'd want to live if you wanted more of that chill, laid back lifestyle, but still have fun on the weekends. So I also frequently get asked about towns that are pretty walkable, that are west of 95 or out in the suburbs, and there's really not that many because it's the suburbs. Everything is very spread out. However, one that I would throw in there is the Coral Springs City Center. Now, Coral Springs is a very spread out town. It's one of the further suburbs away from Fort Lauderdale. It's northwest, just south of Parkland, but it does have this little city center, which I guess you could consider like a downtown. It's, it spans maybe about 3 blocks or so. It runs along Sample Road, and there's just a lot of stuff around there. There's restaurants like Sicilian Oven, Red Ginger, and then the cool thing is that, the bus does have several stops that run up and down this little strip. So if you don't feel like walking, you can take the bus. I guess if you're coming from further away, but if you live right there in that little city center, it's easily very walkable. But if you're looking for single family living with walkability out here, this really isn't gonna be it. There are some single family homes nearby, but they're more on the edge. You're typically gonna find more condo and apartment living around here. And the condos are pretty affordable. From what I've seen, they're pretty well maintained. They're pretty big. Not huge, but they're pretty spacious, and they range usually, between 200,000 to 300,000. You could find a condo down there and be in the suburbs, but still kind of have that city-like feel in a suburban atmosphere. So if the question you're asking is, am I gonna get the New York City style of walkability in Fort Lauderdale? The answer is probably gonna be no. It's not gonna be quite the same as New York City or maybe some of those other bigger cities that are very congested, but in those neighborhoods that I just mentioned, that's probably the top of the top in my opinion. If there's something that I missed, please let me know in the comments. If there's something you'd like to know more about, that number that's popping up again, you gotta call it. Give me a call anytime. I'm happy to help you. So as usual, I appreciate you watching the video, and we'll see you on the next one.